a Meteorine is spotted landing nearby. Upon investigation, smoke emerges from the pod before it opens. A local named Ina greets the newcomer warmly, offering assistance and introducing herself. A doll's unit appears unexpectedly. A battle ensues with what is identified as a petasaur. The newcomer joins the fight alongside others to defeat this threat. Garua introduces himself to the newcomer and Ina. He acknowledges the newcomer's typical memory loss and suggests discussing details back in town. After teaching the newcomer about gliding using photons, they head toward Aliotown. The group arrives at Aliotown. Garua invites everyone to his home where they can talk further. Inside, Garua introduces himself as the town leader, his daughter Ina, and Manon, another Meteorn. Garua explains they are on planet Halpha in Aliotown. He mentions Central City to the north, which serves as the seat of government and economy. He explains that Meteorn are people who arrive from space in landing pods, typically with no memory of their past. Garua details that Halphans have been at war with dolls for over 500 years. Despite this long conflict, little is known about the dolls' origins or motivations. The only certainty is that dolls are their enemy. After explaining about MADs, advanced floating companions that Meteornes possess, Garua suggests the newcomer explore Aliotown while food is prepared. The town prepares a welcome feast, following tradition for Meteorn guests. Garua shares his love for Aliotown and determination to protect its people. He explains ARKS defenders are warriors who battle dolls. Impressed by the newcomer's fighting abilities, Garua suggests joining ARKS but gives time to consider the offer. The peace is broken as dolls attack Aliotown. During combat, Garua explains that enemies have elemental weaknesses. A massive unknown dolls unit appears, forcing Garua to order the others to flee to the northern caves while he faces the threat. After regaining consciousness, it becomes clear Aliotown has been destroyed. Aina is injured but alive, taken to a medical facility in Central City. Garua's fate remains unknown as no survivors were found. The group decides to head to Central City. Upon arrival at Central City, the group is escorted to meet Crawford, the city leader. Crawford expresses relief at their survival and informs them that Ina is receiving treatment. A reunion with Ina confirms her recovery. Ina learns her father is missing. Crawford identifies the attacking dolls unit as potentially Darkfalls, responsible for a catastrophic event 100 years ago. Crawford requests the group's help fighting Darkfalls as they are the only witnesses. Ina immediately agrees to fight Darkfalls, determined to prevent similar tragedies. The newcomer initially hesitates, but eventually agrees to join. Crawford welcomes them as Central City citizens and registers them as ARKS defenders. The group settles into their new accommodations in Central City. Ina puts on a brave face despite her father's disappearance. She emphasizes that the three of them need to stick together to defeat Darkfalls. Crawford requests they acquire basic skills at Cocoon, the training facility. They meet Dozer, Crawford's lieutenant, who oversees the war against dolls. The group enters the training area through a teleporter to develop their combat abilities. After completing their training exercises, Dozer acknowledges all three participants' natural talent for combat. He expresses confidence in their ability to effectively take on the dolls in future encounters. During a training exercise, Heine's performance was evaluated as being on par with the skilled R2 Meteorn. This positive assessment led to encouragement that the team showed promise and could soon participate in actual combat missions. The training facilities scattered across Halpha offer various programs to develop different skills, which should be utilized to maximize combat readiness. Intelligence detected no glyph dolls at a mountaintop location, with numbers still undetermined and increasing presence in surrounding areas. Following exceptional performance in training, Crawford assigned the team to neutralize numerous dolls spotted on Mount Magnus with the support of another defender. Despite initial hesitation about the challenging mission, the team accepted the assignment. Before departing for Mount Magnus, the team received important information about battle power, a numerical representation of defenders' capabilities based on armor, weapons, and physical abilities. While battle power serves as a rough assessment, individual fighting style and tactics significantly impact actual combat effectiveness. Access to dangerous areas on Alpha requires meeting minimum battle power requirements. The team met at Mount Magnus Base, where Dozer was revealed as their support person. The mission involved eliminating dolls encountered while ascending the mountain. During the mission, they faced no-glyph dolls, including advanced variants with destructible armor parts that could reveal vulnerabilities when targeted. During an intense battle, one team member experienced fear. Dozer provided guidance, advising them to close their eyes and picture what they were fighting for as a way to overcome combat anxiety. After the encounter, the team returned to Central City to report to Crawford while Dozer continued the mission. Upon returning to Central City, Crawford commended the team for their performance against the dolls. He granted them free time until the next mission, suggesting they improve their skills at Cocoon, explore outside the city, or train with class instructors. He also mentioned preparations for the Dark Falls defense and provided information about the planet and doll battle records. At the Watchtower, Ina shared personal revelations about her father's reluctance to let her join ARKS. During the battle, she finally understood his concern when she froze in fear while facing the glowing red no-glitz. When Dozer prompted her to visualize what she was fighting for, she saw the faces of Aliotown residents, realizing she had never truly considered her purpose. The team analyzed doll distribution data from Crawford, noting high concentrations of tough dolls in the forest, while the coastal areas appeared relatively peaceful. Their analysis was interrupted by an emergency broadcast reporting dolls at Vanford Laboratory ruins in Rezel Forest. The team volunteered to investigate and provide a situation report. At the abandoned Vanford Laboratory ruins, the team learned the site had been evacuated after a massive dolls assault decades earlier. While searching for other ARKS defenders, they encountered signal interference from a massive diddle doll hovering above. They engaged the threat, successfully defeating it and restoring communications. After defeating the diddle, a greater emergency emerged. Contact with Dozer's squad in Rezel Forest was lost. Crawford issued an emergency call-up for all defenders, revealing the appearance of NX Ilo, a formidable threat that had caused tremendous casualties in the Alia region 10 years prior. Despite just returning from a mission, the team volunteered for the dangerous rescue operation in Rezel Forest. In Rezel Forest, the team encountered more dolls than anticipated. Communications with Crawford were suddenly jammed after he urged them to prioritize their safety over finding Dozer. The situation appeared increasingly dangerous as they ventured deeper into doll-infested territory. A strong signal of next Alio is detected. The creature is about to attack when Dozer appears. 3 ARKS defenders have come alone to help, though Dozer questions why they would be so reckless. With the situation too dangerous to split up, the team forms a tight formation and begins the trial against next Alio. The team notices a core on the side of next Alio that could be its weak point. Their attacks seem to be working, though the creature quickly recovers. They continue their coordinated assault, looking for opportunities to strike at vulnerable points while maintaining their formation. Working together, the team successfully defeats next Alio. Dozer praises Ina for her improved combat skills. Contact is re-established with Crawford, and they report the mission complete. Dozer prepares to return to base with the team, who are credited with saving his life. Back at base, Crawford expresses surprise that they defeated next Alio and thanks them. The team has extracted valuable materials from next Alio's remains that will be sent to the development team. Crawford then reveals a secret weapon they're developing to combat Dark Falls. Crawford explains their secret weapon called the Central Cannon, a large-caliber photon particle cannon. Darkfalls has a gigantic body protecting its weak point core, which is why even strong defenders like Garoa couldn't defeat it. The Central Cannon will compress atmospheric photons and fire them directly at Darkfall's core. Crawford reveals they need materials from other regions to complete the Central Cannon's development. He asks the three defenders to act as intermediaries with other regions. They won't go alone. ARKS defenders from Central City will accompany them to the eastern Retem region, with specific details to follow after they rest. Crawford briefs the team on their mission to the Retem region, a vast desert with abundant resources beneath the sand. The Retem people are currently fighting dolls and cannot spare resources. The team will serve as an advance party to assess the situation, help defeat dolls, and build friendly relations with Rietam. The team discusses the harsh desert environment of Retem with its extreme temperatures. Meanwhile, Ina asks for help at the watchtower, explaining she's been struggling alone against tough enemies in Wrestle Forest, but has improved since their first visit together. Ina recalls volunteering to help rescue Dozer from next to Leo, despite her fears, feeling braver with teammates. She reflects on her tendency to act without thinking, a trait her father both criticized and appreciated. She asks for help if she's about to do something foolish, valuing the team's guidance. Ina shares her desire to create a monument for her father and other fallen defenders to preserve their memory. With mana unavailable, they search for something suitable. They find her father's sword and place it on a hill he loved, creating a memorial that honors how hard the defenders fought. After creating the monument, Ina thanks her companion for helping and offers a gift to express her gratitude. She commits to improving her skills to honor her father's memory, looking forward to growing alongside her teammates. Ina discusses her ARKS activity journal, inspired by Manon's detailed records of enemies and resources. She considers Manon both a professor who taught her combat skills and survival knowledge and a big sister figure she can rely on, motivating her to contribute equally to the team. Crawford appreciates everyone's hard work and reviews activity reports, particularly praising Manon's detailed insights. He explains how Rand and other operators organize report data while Dozer leads field operations against dolls. The system runs smoothly thanks to everyone's contributions. Crawford acknowledges the fragility of their current stability, emphasizing the need for careful planning. As Central City's leader, he's committed to maintaining this structure through vigilant leadership. He invites regular updates and seems to value the ongoing communication. The team receives survey data about the Retem region. The environment is described as a harsh desert with extreme temperature variations between night and day, minimal rainfall, and widespread sand. Despite these challenging conditions, numerous creatures thrive there, having adapted perfectly to their surroundings. The research team plans to investigate life forms across regions, noting the dramatically different environments connected by border bridges. While this research is intriguing, combat-related research currently takes priority. Saigon Mountain Road in Retem exhibits fascinating electromagnetic and gravitational anomalies, including floating boulders. These phenomena may be caused by cylindrical structures called degreffs, though much remains unknown about them. Retem faces harsh environmental conditions and constant threats from dolls' attacks. The recent Alio battle posed a major danger, yet such threats are commonplace for Retem residents who have lost many lives protecting their town. Their society values strength above all else, with a fundamental belief that the strong should protect the weak. The circumstances and cultural differences between Alio and Retem have prevented much interaction and mutual understanding. However, demonstrating strength will likely earn acceptance from Retem's people. There's hope that reaching out to Retem ARKS defenders will build trust, and experiencing the region firsthand will provide better understanding than any introduction. A Meteorine shares their arrival story, describing landing disoriented on this coast and being surrounded by enemies. Despite instinctively knowing how to use their weapon, they were outnumbered until Crawford, then an ordinary ARKS defender, arrived and defeated all enemies effortlessly. Crawford rescued them, brought them to Central City, and taught them survival and fighting skills. Crawford shaped who the Meteorine became, and their current work is done to repay him. Despite Crawford's charisma, he has few people who truly understand him, prompting a request for support. The conversation shifts to another location where someone visits to update their father at a monument, finding comfort in cleaning it and talking about ongoing events. Memories surface of childhood incidents, like getting stuck in trees while practicing gliding or becoming lost while hunting tames. Their father would rescue them with an angry expression, followed by townspeople defending them against the father's strictness. Though they disliked special treatment then, they now understand it came from genuine care. The emotional reality that all those caring people are now gone brings pain, but there's resolve not to let down those who sacrifice themselves. The scene transitions to someone else seeking solitude by water, finding the sound relaxing when overwhelmed. They express regret about past actions and decisions, wishing they had done things differently. Though Ina views them as amazing, they believe book learning means nothing without application. They admire Ina for her resilience through hardship, avoiding shutdown or rage. Feeling pressure as Ina's role model, they maintain a brave face despite struggles and ask for these vulnerabilities to be kept from Ina until they can share them personally. The conversation shifts to Aliotown's destruction. The town had handled defense from south to west Alio, in areas cut off from Central City by mountains, protecting against unpredictable Dolls attacks from the sea. Their efforts had kept Central City safe for a long time, with its inhabitants known for their toughness. Garoa stood out among Aliotown's defenders, with perfectly balanced mind, body, spirit, and experience-honed instincts. During competitive practice drills between Aliotown and Central City, the speaker never managed to defeat Garoa, despite giving their all. Garoa's loss is deeply felt, as he was both a formidable fighter and warm-hearted person whose presence eased worries. Another visitor recalls Aliotown's warmth and kindness, particularly when townspeople helped free them from a malfunctioning pod upon arrival. The welcoming atmosphere matched the addressee's own arrival experience. Aliotown's defenders demonstrated remarkable strength, with Garoa defeating 5 huge Dolls units simultaneously with his axe. Someone discovers their arrival pod still intact, despite valuable parts usually being salvaged quickly. They reflect on their growth since arriving, having experienced difficult times, but also creating good memories and adventures. They express gratitude for support that enabled their development as an ARKS defender, despite embarrassment at being so direct. A final visitor arrives at a memorial site, apologizing for the delay in coming. They acknowledge avoiding reality by not answering calls when the memorial was being built. They recall Garoa asking them to watch over Ina, likely a casual request at the time that now feels like a significant responsibility. The weight of responsibility for Ina emerges as a major concern. They note Ina's impressive development as a fighter, both mentally and physically, as she works through grief and moves forward. This progress motivates them to maintain a positive attitude and mature, recognizing their need to step up for Ina's sake. A solemn promise is made to protect Ina no matter what happens, as it's considered the least that can be done for everyone. This commitment is deeply personal and driven by a sense of responsibility toward both Ina and the community. An operator explains their busy schedule and discusses Crawford's leadership style. Despite managing Central City's administration and battle command, Crawford never appears tired and takes time to meet with RC defenders individually. The operator recalls how Crawford's encouragement helped them overcome nervousness when starting out. a reflection on a memorable first mission involving Ina and Manit, who performed impressively despite being fresh out of training. Their resilience is praised, especially Ina, who had recently lost her father and sustained serious injuries. While Ina is still developing her skills, her attitude is commendable as she tries to move forward without being consumed by anger. Someone mentions concerns about Manon and requests leadership by example to guide both Manon and Ina. The conversation shifts to appreciation for Central City, where watching people interact brings a sense of peace. A former Aliotown resident describes how Central City initially seemed intimidating but has become a beloved home. An appreciation is expressed for everyone who contributes to making Central City function, from operators and shopkeepers to underground factory workers. There's a transition described from being protected to becoming a protector as an ARKS defender, showing personal growth and commitment to the city's safety. A conversation acknowledges someone's proactive approach to security through daily patrols. Gratitude is expressed for help during an incident with Nixalio in Wrestle Forest, where overconfidence nearly led to disaster. The dolls had become more powerful and jammed communications, creating a dire situation that was only resolved with timely assistance. Investigation of the Vanford laboratory reveals it was named after Crawford's grandfather, who developed technology still powering Central City. During a massive doll invasion, Bamford sacrificed himself, fighting on the front lines so others could evacuate. This event appears to have shaped Crawford's defensive, rather than offensive approach to leadership. Research into enemies in Wrestle Forest focuses on how dolls communicate, revealing they operate both autonomously and as part of a collective consciousness. Command dolls function as officers giving orders to other units. The Nixalio encountered in the forest was an especially powerful command unit, directing dolls to march on Central City. A trainer of rookie ARKS defenders expresses concern about Manon, who appears to be suppressing emotional issues that could affect her battlefield performance. Based on personal experience, the speaker warns that bottling up problems inevitably leads to trouble. A request is made to support Manon, emphasizing that true teams have genuine bonds between members. During what appears to be a combat trial, participants prove their growing strength against enemies. The exercise is interrupted by Hadi, an ARKS defender from Retem City, who identifies himself and expresses admiration for their combat performance. The encounter ends with recognition of the group's increasing capabilities and confidence in their progress. A group of travelers encounter Hadi, who directs them south through an oasis to reach Retem City. Hadi mentions being on a recon mission and bids farewell. The group notes Hadi's battle-hardened demeanor, suggesting Retem's residents face dire struggles against the dolls. After traveling further, they hear a concerning noise from Retem City's direction and hurry to investigate. The group spots an enormous dolls unit. Upon arriving at Retem City, they're stopped by guards who identify them as visitors from Alia region. The travelers meet Nadara, Retem City's leader, along with her lieutenants Jalil and Moxon. The group introduces themselves as Ina and Manon, ARKS defenders from Central City. The travelers learn about Reynus Raitam, a massive serpentine dolls unit that terrorizes the desert region. Nadara explains that despite knowing about Dark Falls and Aliotown's fate, Retem City cannot offer assistance as they're fully occupied dealing with Reynus Raitam. Hadi interrupts, vouching for the travelers' combat prowess, mentioning they defeated Nixalio. After initial skepticism, Nadara accepts the travelers' offer to help. She explains Retem's resources are being depleted by dolls attacks, with a repository currently under siege. The travelers agree to clear out the dolls there first, allowing Nadara to evaluate their abilities. Before departing, they visit monuments listing fallen ARKS defenders, each monument containing roughly 1,000 names. The group ventures into a canyon filled with dolls. They notice peculiar sound-producing devices throughout the region. After successfully clearing the repository of dolls and restoring mining operations, they return to Retem City. Jalil and Moxon acknowledge the travelers' impressive combat skills, finally accepting their help against Reynus Raitam. The travelers inquire about the speaker-like objects scattered across the region. Nadera explains their devices to amplify song. The Retem leaders traditionally possessed a unique vocal power that empowered ARKS defenders in battle. When asked why Nadera doesn't use this power, the group heads to a sacred altar for a private conversation. After clearing dolls from the altar, Jalil reveals Nadera lacks the traditional power of song that previous leaders possessed. Despite attempting to manifest this power during her leadership ceremony, it failed to appear. Nadera compensated through intense physical training, earning everyone's respect despite her missing ability. Upon returning to Retem City, they discover it has been attacked by Reynus Raitam and its dolls. Though wounded, Nadera calls for a war council. They plan an offensive against Retem Dome, Reynus Raitam's stronghold. The strategy involves splitting their forces, with an elite squad including Nadera targeting the creature's central location. After reviewing battle records, Manon seeks fresh air, lamenting the cruel reality where countless defenders die fighting dolls. Nadera finds her and explains she visits this place before major battles to sing mourning songs for the fallen and vow to prevent further casualties. Nadera expresses regret that her lack of song power has cost many lives. Nadera begins singing a mourning song, and mysterious lights appear. Manon has a revelation about data she read. Nadera's power differs from her predecessors. Before she can explain further, they detect multiple dolls approaching from the dome, preparing for the impending battle against Reynus Raitam. A battle sequence begins as everyone takes their positions. Medela is scolded for fighting while not fully healed. Nadera is instructed to draw her weapon as they notice the dolls slowing down in response to someone's song. The power of song is explained. A Retem leader possesses unique photon composition abilities that weaken the dolls rather than amplify allies' abilities. The singer never noticed this power before because her first song had no effect on comrades, so she never tried singing on the battlefield. As the dolls slow down further, the group realizes they can defeat them all. Dozer joins the battle, having temporarily left his post with Crawford handling things in his absence. With this newfound power, they believe they might defeat Reynus Raitam. All units deploy for the assault against Reynus Raitam, whom they feared for too long. After detecting a group of dolls, they charge into battle. Despite seemingly endless enemies, Nadera is instructed to proceed ahead while others continue fighting. Victory is achieved. The success is attributed to Nadera's song, though she credits Manon for discovering its power. While the doll threat isn't completely eliminated, Retem City can enjoy peace. They agree to cooperate with Central City, having already discussed this with Crawford. A beautiful song is performed about weary souls, resting as the world sinks into twilight. The singer dismisses compliments, admitting that performing for crowds isn't her strength, despite normally being commanding and in control. The group is warmly invited to return any time, with gratitude expressed for their help. They prepare to head back to Central City amidst many fond farewells from the locals. Upon return, they discuss Central Cannon's status. It was recently used against Dark Falls, but sustained barrel damage after just one shot. The main problems involve the firing mechanism and barrel, which can't withstand supercondensed photon bullets. An old researcher friend named Ilma might help with improvements, but he's been missing for several days. His younger sister reported his disappearance. The group is tasked with searching for him in the Kavaris region, an abandoned area that was once the capital before Central City. The team plans to travel north to the Kavaris region after gathering necessary supplies. Meanwhile, someone reviews Central Cannon data and explains more about the weapon, officially called a single-mounted photon particle cannon. The Central Cannon is revealed to be lost technology with mysterious origins. It functions as a communications tower and extends to underground spaces, serving as the nucleus of Central City. Initially discovered in non-working condition, it was Vanford, the current leader's grandfather, who began repairs. The cannon was more incomplete than broken, with many missing parts. Understanding its structure and rebuilding components has taken generations, with the task passing from grandfather to father to the current leader. While now operational, durability issues persist. A test fire at maximum output accidentally created a hole in a mountain visible from Central Tower. The incident damaged the cannon and broke part of the control unit, revealing design imperfections, but also representing progress toward functionality. The narrative shifts to a battle scene with a dolls unit of the seamless type, which they haven't encountered before. They're warned to watch it carefully as the trial begins. The team reaches the Kavaris region and encounters someone they initially mistake for Ilma. The person introduces herself as Mary, Ilma's little sister. Mary was the one Crawford contacted after failing to reach Ilma. Mary takes them to their lodge where they meet Kuka, another sibling. They learn there are 5 siblings total: Tyvis, Tully, Ilma, Kuka, and Mary. Their parents died young and they were raised by their grandfather, who also passed away recently. When asked about Ilma, the siblings explain he often shuts himself away researching and occasionally vanishes to investigate things, so they weren't initially concerned. Mary initially refuses outside help, insisting it's a family matter. After Mary leaves, Kuka explains they have limited contact with outsiders. The team decides to search for Ilma, despite Mary's objections. Kuka reveals that Tully went to the research facility, while Tyvis headed toward Lost Central, the old capital. Kuka shares that their grandfather was also a researcher, and Ilma continued his work. They examine a robot with Ilma's name on it and find materials about Lost Central and data on dolls, suggesting Ilma might be in one of the region's ruined buildings. While searching, they find numerous dolls in the area and discover a completely destroyed doll's nest. They meet people who had just seen the person they're looking for, a strong fighter with a katana who went further inside not long ago. A group is searching for someone named Elma. After being saved from danger, they encounter Tully, who has been destroying doll nests while searching for Elma. Despite the group offering help, Tully insists on working alone and suggests they proceed to Mr. Woods, where Tyvis is located. The group meets Tyvis in Mr. Woods and assists him in battle against surrounding dolls. Tyvis, despite his confidence in knowing the Kavaris region better than his siblings, admits he let himself get surrounded. Neither Tully nor Tyvis has found any trace of Elma, with Lost Central being the only place they haven't searched. Back at the lodge, the group discusses their unsuccessful search for Elma with Kuka. Despite sweeping the entire region, they found no trace. When the possibility of checking Lost Central arises, there's disagreement as it's considered too dangerous, even though it's the only place left unexplored. Kuka realizes Elma might have entered their grandfather's room, which they hadn't entered since his death. They discover their grandfather had gathered extensive data on Lost Central, including information about a side entrance. This leads them to believe Elma went to Lost Central after all. The group searches for the hidden entrance to Lost Central beyond Mr. Woods. After examining a wall that sounds hollow and noticing discrepancies in their reference image, they successfully discover and open the secret entrance. Inside, they find Elma, who explains he discovered information about Lost Central in their grandfather's research. He entered to investigate but became trapped when powerful dolls blocked the passage, and jamming signals prevented him from contacting others. He thanks them for the rescue. The visitors from Central City explain their mission to find Elma on Crawford's orders. They need data to improve Central Cannon, which can damage Dark Falls but has limitations in output and durability. Elma reveals he's found valuable data and machine parts inside Lost Central. The group enters Lost Central's core area, working together to restore power to the systems. While Elma accesses the data, they fight off dolls that awaken. Their teamwork proves effective against the powerful enemies. Elma discovers valuable information about Dark Falls. They also find a recorded message from their grandfather, revealing that Dark Falls was still growing when it attacked and would likely return in a more complete form. He left behind data that might help defeat Dark Falls. The siblings are emotional after hearing their grandfather's message. With the mission complete and data acquired, the group prepares to return to Central City. Crawford confirms receipt of the data and thanks them for saving Elma. After returning from the Chimera's region, there's concern about Manon, who has been acting strangely and not responding to contact attempts. Someone believes Manon might be troubled and asks to be notified if anyone sees her. A conversation begins as someone is discovered in their location. There appears to be tension in the air as one character, Manon, seems troubled. The discussion reveals concerns about Dark Falls, which has been evolving into a stronger form than previously encountered during their time in Lost Central. Ina is complimented on how much she's grown and changed since they were last at this location. Both characters have developed significantly. However, Manon expresses fear about the inevitable casualties that will result from fighting Dark Falls, worried about causing even greater destruction than has already occurred. An announcement interrupts their conversation, calling all ARK defenders to an emergency meeting called by Crawford in Central City. The group departs immediately to attend the meeting. Crawford explains that analysis of data from Lost Central has helped locate Dark Falls deep within the Stia region. The central cannon is ready for battle and will be fired once Dark Falls is lured into range. However, Crawford warns that the Stia region is extremely dangerous due to large amounts of magma and numerous formidable dolls. A question arises about potential allies in the Stia region, similar to Nodora or Ilma, who helped in previous missions. Crawford confirms there is a vanguard unit deployed in the area, and communication is established with the Stia Camp, where operator Narashi responds. Commander Glenn joins the conversation, having heard everything from Naroshi. He agrees to the plan and promises to prepare accommodations for the team's arrival. The team is instructed to prepare thoroughly before departing for the Stia region. Upon arriving in the new area, the team encounters some ARKS defenders. After a brief confrontation that appears to be a test of skills, Adjutant Kanaway introduces himself and explains that their strategies align with Central City's, though their ultimate objectives differ. Kano outlines their plan to conduct a large-scale attack against 3 dolls' bases in the Stia region, starting with an assault on a plant facility. Previous attempts have failed due to the enemy's overwhelming numbers, but with the team's help, they believe success is possible. The plan involves a distraction squad, while an elite team led by Commander Glenn infiltrates and disables the base. The visiting team is invited to join this elite squad to help bring down the dolls. Failure is not considered an option. At the plant, they observe it producing relatively small dolls, though the source of larger dolls remains unknown. The facility's purpose on Alpha is questioned, but destroying it would significantly slow doll production. The team engages in battle with the dolls. The team defeats numerous dolls with remarkable ease. It's mentioned that Commander Glenn's strength is exceptional, with only Crawford from Central City being his equal in combat prowess. This prompts curiosity about the strange reaction Crawford had upon seeing Glenn. After succeeding at the plant, the team moves to the northern base. They discover a control room that may open a path to the innermost area, but is heavily defended. ARKS defenders from Central City offer to conduct reconnaissance with support from Central City Command Room. Progress is made on unlocking a complicated password, with Manon assisting. However, they discover that access to the Southern Base Control Room terminal is also required to proceed to the innermost area. The team prepares to assault the Southern Base. Despite many being exhausted, the team decides to proceed with capturing the Southern Base, recognizing this as their best opportunity with the current resources and assistance available. They encounter a Dolls unit identified as Niels Stiga and engage in battle. After a difficult battle with many Dolls, they tend to the wounded and find what appears to be the control room. Despite Manon successfully unlocking it, the central barrier remains in place, leaving them puzzled about what might be missing. Crawford contacts them with analysis of the data center, explaining they need to access yet another terminal to fully disengage the lock. Ilma provides intel on the terminal's location and operation, expressing confidence in Manon's abilities to solve the puzzle. They believe Dark Falls must be hiding inside Stia's nerve center. After finishing treatment of the wounded, they prepare to head there immediately. Meanwhile, Manon continues working on releasing the barrier. The commander goes missing, and someone named Kubana appears to be involved in a confrontation. The situation seems tense until someone arrives with warm food and drink to boost morale, noting they've been eating only packed meals for too long. There's acknowledgement that continuing their mission will inevitably result in fatalities. The conversation shifts to asking about Glenn's behavior, noting that he changed suddenly upon seeing a large Dolls unit. Niels Stia has a significant history with the commander. Crawford and the commander used to fight Dolls together alongside another defender named Hibana. 10 years ago, Niels Stia attacked Central. They managed to drive it off, but Hibana lost her life in the battle. After that tragic event, Crawford and the commander went separate ways. Crawford focused on strengthening defenses and developing powerful weapons to minimize casualties. The commander, however, chose to pursue Niels Stia to its lair, believing the root cause lay in the Stia region itself. The commander recruited other ARKS defenders to hunt down and attack enemy bases with the goal of eliminating all Dolls like Niels Stia from Halpha completely. The commander wants Crawford to know this fight was chosen willingly and that Crawford should continue his own path. The team has gained access to Stia Central Command through terminals in the north and southern bases. The barriers should be deactivated soon, and everyone is preparing for battle with the primary goal of taking out Niels Stia once and for all. A tense battle ensues where someone sacrifices themselves to save another. The team struggles to help injured members Manon and Glenn. Crawford appears during the battle, telling Blinn to stay focused as the fight continues. Crawford explains he left Central because the central cannon is completed and ready, and he believed the team would locate Dark Falls. He wanted to help his old friend in the final battle, after which they can properly mourn Hibana. While Central is temporarily under Dozer's care, the team notices movement from the enemy. The commander orders evacuation of the wounded. Crawford stays behind and coordinates with Dozer to fire the central cannon at the target. Despite their efforts, Dark Falls escapes into space-time again, but Crawford assures everyone the situation is under control. Based on Lysis's records and data compiled with Elma, they know Dark Falls has limited regenerative abilities and must return to Stia's nerve center to fully recover. Lysis documented Dark Falls' behavior patterns from battles in Kavaris 100 years ago. When dealt lethal damage, it disappeared temporarily and later returned fully repaired. This repair location has been confirmed as the place in Stia. The next plan is straightforward. When Dark Falls rematerializes, they will target it with the central cannon. They've identified potential emergence points and know where it needs to go for repairs. The strategy is to keep damaging it until they ultimately prevail. One concern is that Darkfalls might have changed since their data collection. Despite having several backup plans, success will ultimately depend on the strength of each ARKS defender. The commander will need to lead the fight when Darkfalls re-emerges. Crawford mentions he's finalizing details on the central cannon. Thanks to data from Ilma, they've identified and addressed numerous technical issues. The combined efforts of the team and the 5 siblings have been crucial to this progress.